guys? Welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an article titled Swedish Governor Wants Limit on Thai Women Marrying Swedish Men. And guys, this whole article is about how apparently Sweden is the number one country with the highest percentage of Thai wives, where apparently it has a pretty large Thai population, lots of immigrants, because apparently Sweden is one of the top liberal, progressive European countries, so they have a lot of immigrants coming from Thailand apparently. And guess what? The Swedish men are marrying them up because, as many of you guys are aware, generally speaking, Asian women are known to be a lot more feminine and not have been impacted by the F3minists movement like women in the West. Okay? So, as you can probably imagine, these Swedish guys, given the choice between these beautiful, feminine, foreign women that are obviously more traditional versus these women that are obviously been impacted by the F3minists movement, walking around like they're a bunch of female Vikings, what do you think they're going to choose, right? Who do you think they're going to choose? And obviously the women aren't happy about this, especially the F3minists women. So now they're now pressuring the government to try to put a stop to this or slow it down, right? And this is no surprise to me because again, at the end of the day, guys, again, who would you rather for you guys to date and do relationships? Some masculine woman that's trying to compete with you and everything, and who's bossy and ball busting and acts like she's got a bigger you-know-what than you, or a girly, feminine, soft, nurturing, traditional girl? Duh, it's kind of obvious. So I'm going to go through this article. It's pretty interesting because I learned something new every day, guys, on many levels, but this is definitely something new because I didn't know about this, what was going on in Sweden. And by the way, to no surprise, the government's going to try to, in this article, you're going to see, to focus on a small percentage of obviously wrongdoings that go on sometimes with immigrants to make it like it's the bigger picture, which certainly isn't the case, okay? So, but anyhow, I'm going to go through this. So it starts off. Sweden now, the country with the highest percentage of Thai wives. Sweden has emerged as the country with the highest percentage of local men with Thai wives or life partners. As well as a growing number of Thai workers traveling to Sweden as seasonal workers, the number of Thai women arriving in Sweden has increased threefold over the last 10 years. Over 80% of Thai immigrants to Sweden are relationship partners or Thai wives of Swedish men, and Sweden, like Germany, has a long tradition of men seeking Thai women as life partners. Again, they're looking for beautiful, sexy, feminine, traditional women, not these masculine-ass Viking women. Duh. Sweden is one of the few countries where there is now a second and third generation Thai community, which still maintains very close links to Thailand. However, the increased levels of younger Thai women now entering Sweden has now become a political issue. Last year, a female governor of one rural Swedish province requested that the government look into the situation, investigate harm, and perhaps even limit the number of Thai women permitted into the country. Yeah, you can read between the lines to what's really going on here. She has now been given a mandate from the Swedish government to investigate the trend, although government agencies and leading academics have also conducted qualitative studies into the nature of the growing number of relationships between Swedish men and Thai women. Although Sweden portrays itself to be one of the most liberal countries in Europe, the Swedish government is concerned with this as an immigration becomes a powerful and divisive political issue. They want to do this big study about what's going on here. It's not rocket science. Masculine women walking around with battle axes and Viking helmets, or sexy, feminine, girly, traditional women. Duh. Who are you going to pick, right? In fact, the Swedish government has had several issues to deal with. In spite of it representing its country as liberal and progressive, Swedes has been putting their government under pressure to investigate such issues as same-sex marriages, the ordination of female bishops, and growth of the you-know-what industry in Sweden, including the large numbers of Thai parlors in Stockholm. Those lobbying the Swedish government highlight the number of Thai women who appear to be discarded by their Swedish partners or seek help from Sweden's welfare agencies. Women's groups claim many Thai women have been subjugated to harm by Swedish men. And that sucks. That's terrible, okay? But I have to really wonder here, is that a huge percentage to cause alarm? Or is it an excuse to try to slow things down, and because the bigger picture here is they want Swedes breeding with Swedes, because you have all these women that aren't getting married because these guys are like, I'm taking the feminine girl, not Battle Axe Brenda over there. No. Says, however, like Finland and Norway, while there are documented cases of harm, most relationships between Thai women and Swedish men are successful. There you go. Although there is no accurate data on relationship breakdown between Thai women who marry Swedish men, it is likely to be lower than the overall divorce rate in Sweden, which is now nearly 55%. One UK man living in Sweden estimates that over 85% of marriages between Thai women and Swedish men are successful. Imagine that. 55%, more than half, of marriages between Swedish men and Swedish women are ending in divorce. And it's higher over here in the United States, but it's still a crazy number. Over 50% are going to end in divorce. And yet people do this. Yet with the Thai women, feminine, traditional, girly Thai women, 85% work. So it's like 15% of divorce. What does it tell you? Look at the impact, again, the feminist movement has had. Jim Henderson is a Londoner living in Stockholm who met his Thai wife, Papora, I guess that's how you pronounce it, on a website in 2010 and now lives happily in Sweden. My wife loves Sweden in spite of the cold. We are very happy, but I have heard stories of some guys on their third wife from Thailand. I've had to take my wife to the hospital, and the administrators insisted on having a Thai translator for her when she first arrived, even though she speaks very good English. I think the authorities are right to be protective here, but I am concerned that some people have an agenda. Ding, ding, ding. And I got no problem with taking action to prevent, obviously harm. The other word starts with an A, and I can't say that because YouTube is very sensitive about certain words, but you know what I mean, guys. Taking advantage of and harm and things like that. I'm fine with certain measures. But we know what's going on here. They're just pissed off because the men don't want to marry the feminist Swedish women, because again, they say it's a very liberal, progressive country. So that translates to me that, guess what? That's code for we're going to have masculine feminist women here. And guys don't want to be with those types. I guarantee you these types stop being so darn masculine and the feminist movement minimizes there. Guys will go back to marrying girls from their native land. Until then, tough shit. Behind their concern for Thai women, I think they really want to cut down on it. Exactly. Although there are undoubtedly concerns for some Thai women who are married to Swedes or in long-term relationships, a new survey by Swedish Academic Institute into Thai women living in rural Sweden shows that Thai women do not fit the obvious stereotypes often portrayed. The survey finds a colorful picture of strong women working hard to make a new life in a very different country and culture. And I think when they mean strong women, they don't actually mean what we think over here in terms of strong woman, I am woman, hear me roar types. They're just very brave, taking chances, women that are making something of themselves in a different country. And those are the type of immigrants you want to come to your country that are going to work hard and make something of themselves, not, milk the country dry for all its resources, based off their liberal policies. No, they're coming here to work and add something. That's the kind of people you want to come. This is similar to studies carried out in diverse countries such as Finland, Germany, and Australia, where government agencies have accepted that most relationships between Thai women and foreign men are in fact bona fide. Ding, ding, ding. See? Says Jim, he says, Sweden is a great country, but it's the same as all wealthy countries. There's been such a change in the dating culture and family life. I'm a professional. I've had a wonderful dating experience with Swedish women, but I never married until I met my wife in Thailand. I wonder why. It never occurred to me that there could be something wrong with what I was doing until I had some comments from friends and started reading stuff on the net. Most times it sort of amuses me, but there have been times when I've gotten annoyed with the rubbish being thrown out there. Exactly. At the end of the day, you got pissed off women that they're taking our men, and they're ruffling feathers and using their connections with government to now stir up shit, and here you go. He says, Thai immigration and berry picking. Well, this part goes into the whole berry industry in Thailand, in Sweden, which I didn't know there was a berry industry in Sweden. I guess in my mind I picture being cold all the time, but obviously that's not accurate. I'm going to skip this part because it really doesn't have anything to do with the whole marriage thing, so just bear with me for a second, guys. Goes into the whole berry industry thing and bullshit, but now back to the main part of the article. Now this part's going to focus on what they're trying to do to make the case to obviously minimize Thai women coming over there in terms of bad things happening. So I'm going to be speaking a lot of code here, so just, if you want to read along and see what was really being said, click on the link in the description and carry on. This follows the part about taking advantage of Thai women in Sweden. It says there is certainly evidence in Sweden that harm occurring to Thai women traveling to the country. In spite of its liberal and progressive image, Sweden has a vibrant you-know-what industry with a reputed 190 parlors in Stockholm alone. There are stories, mind you, of young Thai women being transferred, so to speak, by their families to Swedish men and then forced into the you-know-what line of work when they arrive in Sweden. In fact, the parallel business of trafficking to satisfy the explosion of the escort industry is often confused with the growth in interracial dating worldwide, now made possible by the internet. It has to be said, however, that there is an anecdotal evidence of some Thai women who have been discarded by Swedish husbands or where relationships have broken down, turning to the you-know-what industry. The Swedish government has been very active in preventing this and is making efforts to inform Thai women in such situations of their rights and support that is available from government agencies. And I'm fine with that. Okay, I don't want anybody to be taken advantage of and harm coming their way. Seriously. But a lot of this, in my opinion, is just an excuse to obviously, because you get the pissed off Swedish women. Taking our men. It says the Swedish government has been very active in preventing this and making efforts to inform Thai women in such situations of their rights and support that is available from the government agencies. The Thai embassy in Sweden has recently announced a hotline for Thai women stranded in Sweden. This is part of the overall policy initiative taken by the Thai government throughout the world in response to the huge increase in Thai women marrying foreign partners. Jim Henderson, the British guy living in Stockholm, I think most responsible men who have Thai wives or relationship partners are deeply concerned at this sort of activity. I don't think it's the real story, ding, 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 and I think most government agencies already know this. See? The problem is, as I said, some groups want to tar it with all the same brush. That's not funny when it touches you personally, but we just get on with it. I'd be giving, if I was this guy and he's got the good marriage with his Thai wife, I'd be giving a giant FU to anybody that has anything to say about it. It says here, going under the integration of Thais into Swedish communities, enlightened immigration policies in Sweden have led to a virtual invasion by Thai workers of many kinds, not just crop pickers. Thais have also moved to Sweden to open restaurants and Thai restaurants, as in countries all over the world, from the vanguard of the Thai community. Many Thais have settled permanently in Sweden over the past 20 years. In fact, it is estimated that there are now around 30,000 Thai-born people living in Sweden, including wives of Swedish men, restaurant owners, and those that run small businesses of various kinds. Thais are astute business people, and many Thai wives are able to run businesses themselves. Yeah, and that's the good part. That's awesome. Near me, I got a Thai restaurant not too far away, and the food is amazing. And the couple that run that, they've been there for a long time. They got to be easily, I'm talking easily, early to mid-70s. And I swear to God, it's like they work every day. No joke. And they bust their butts. And they're so friendly, so polite. The food is amazing. I get the food there usually about once a month. It's awesome. And I might add, their niece, who's obviously Thai, works there, and she's smoking hot. And she is girly and feminine and traditional. See what I mean? So you think about this. You can have guys that you have the American women here in the United States, because you got this Thai family, American women that are more and more being impacted by the F3minists movement and being, I am woman, hear me roar, or getting a Thai girl who's girly and beautiful and feminine and sexy and traditional. What do you think we're going to pick? Duh. And you have all the American women being pissed off about that too. It says here they've integrated well into local communities. In Utenade, I can't pronounce this right, in the north of Sweden, just east of Östersund, one of the major tourist attractions is a genuine Thai pavilion, the spire of which rises well above the pines and birch trees. It is the only pavilion of its design outside Thailand. Noi, a young Thai woman living in Utenade, I gotta look this up because I gotta be mispronounced. Anybody from Sweden can let me know what the hell I'm supposed to say here. It says this is great. It's good for the Swedes to experience our culture, and we feel almost at home here. Apart from being a tourist attraction, the pavilion has generated interest in the development of trade between Thailand and Sweden. Good. Promote business. There are more Thais in Sweden than just the seasonal workers, and Thais are not the only seasonal workers here. There are many other nationalities represented in those that work in the northern forests of Sweden, although it is the Thai women that the Swedes appear to prefer to marry. In fact, in some areas they are no longer perceived as being exotic, but are regarded as members of the local communities. It finishes up saying, Thai women in Sweden are enjoying an increasing degree of acceptance by their Swedish neighbors, many of whom learn a great deal from their Thai friends. Each culture can learn from the other, and while the Swedish government may be concerned at the level of Thai immigration, those that live with them and marry them welcome the diversity that these colorful and hardworking people offer to their communities. Yeah, and it sounds like a good thing. And like I said before, I'm cool with anybody coming into let's just say here, the United States. I'm cool with anybody coming here and they're legally coming here and they're going to work hard and, add to our society, maybe bring things from their culture, restaurants, whatever, and make something themselves. Okay. I'm cool with that. And you understand that this is our country and our culture, and you're going to respect our laws and cultures and not get bent out of shape about it and contribute. Versus those that come here with the idea, number one, they come here with the idea that they're going to milk this place for everything it's worth, complain about our culture, raise holy hell, cause problems, be basically draining resources. I got no use for them at all, okay? You're going to come here and contribute, make something great, awesome, come on in. If you're going to be coming here to basically cause problems, get the fuck out. So, but anyhow, that I'm talking about the USA, but we're talking about Sweden here. At the end of the day, like I said in the beginning of the article, at the end of the day, this is because the women are pissed. They're pissed off because the Swedish men, given the choice between masculine-ass Viking women walking around with battle axes or these sexy, feminine, traditional, beautiful Thai women, who do you think they're going to pick? Pretty obvious. And where did the problems really come from? The F3minists movement. Because again, it said that Sweden is known as a very liberal and progressive country. So reading between the lines, that tells me the women are probably masculine as fuck. So, but anyhow, guys, interesting article. It's interesting to see how these things go around the world. So that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Any guys from Sweden watching me, or any you guys have been to Sweden or know people from Sweden, let me know if this is pretty accurate. Let me know what the Swedish women are like. Are they really masculine and definitely embrace the F3minists movement, which would make sense why the Swedish guys are going for the other women, or is it something else? I'd like to hear about it. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.